I'll just quit it over here, open my KaliLinux. Perfect. So I'll just type the Harvester D, and over here will be the URL. So I'll just type google.com L300 B Google, and I'll just hit enter. So what you could see over here is that it's searching all the results on Google, and there were no emails found with this on this website. So what it shows is that -d over here, thing that I wrote, -d will be the remote site from which you want to fetch the juicy information. I've limited the search for specified number. For us it would be 300, and -l over here will be the limit for the search specified by the number, that is this one, and -b will be the search engine that I use. So from the above information of email address, you can go and identify the pattern of email addresses assigned to employees of organization. As of Google, it's quite secure, so it won't show you anything, but let me try something else. Let me go ahead and use a different website. I have one more thing in place, so I'll have, let's say, 6startech.com, and let's check if we get any results. Okay, so I'm not getting any result. Maybe even this has got way too secured. So but yes, this is how it works, and you can go ahead and find out any information that you want through this. So from the above information, I can go ahead and show you all of these things. The command will grab the information. I'll also show you one more thing. Instead of that, I'll just type all the harvester hyphen d6startech lb all. Perfect. So what it will do, it will go ahead and search on all the search engines, and it will give me back the result. This command will grab from multiple search engines, and as you can see that first it was searching only through Google, and now it is searching even through Bing. So to save the result, just go ahead and put a -f parameter as shown in the example. I'll just go ahead and show you. Okay, so there were no email IDs found for over here. I'll just, and just in case, all, and I'll type -f, and I'll type pen test. So just in case you go ahead and find any email IDs over there, you can just go ahead and type it over here like this, and it will be saved in the pen test directory. And -f means that you are asking it to save it in a specific folder. As you can see, it was error creating file because there was nothing found. But let me see if the file was created or not. So I just need home view tree. Okay, perfect. Okay, as you can see, we have appendix HTML, and yes, there is nothing over here as of now because we are not able to find any information. Let's check some websites. If I get any good website, then I'll surely go ahead and let me think Microsoft, and I'll go ahead and search the same for Microsoft.com because probably or I'll type, let's say, I don't know whether it will work or not. Just let's check. Let's try to harvest some results, and I'll open another one. I'll go ahead and type the same thing. So let's go ahead and try our commands once more, and I'll type Google this time. So let's check whether we get any information. I should probably get perfect. So as you can see that previously my internet was down, so that's the reason I did not get anything. And you can see that I only searched this in Google, and I got these many email IDs from that. So it's quite easy for you to understand that what would be the email IDs and what they could give things out. So let's go ahead and check for google.com if you are able to get anything for Google. So if just in case if you get any results from Google that xyz @ blah blah blah, and you get that any fake email ID, and you want to search whether the email that you received, because sometimes some attackers, what they do is that if you have an organization and then they go ahead and send an email to an employee of your organization stating that this is from the IT department and we are asking you to go ahead and log in at the following terminal, and this is the google.com and this is your Gmail ID, so just log in. And so you need to know that whether the email came from the right party, from the same google.com or somewhere else. So you, at that point of time, you can go ahead and check the host and the domain over here, and these are the two emails found over here, and these were the host IPs for each and everything, and you can go ahead and gather information, and it will be much easier for you to identify whether the person who sent you the email is the right party or not. You even have the IP address from where these emails get sent, so you don't need to worry about the IP addresses. Just in case your the mail that you received was a fake one, you can also go ahead and easily trace it, since you will already also be having the IP address. So that is it for this tutorial. In the next tutorial, I'll be starting with the who is and the DNS mapping and stuff. So that's it for the harvester. Hey guys, welcome to the next tutorial for ethical hacking and penetration testing via KaliLinux. Before I proceed with my next topic, just one thing that I'd like to continue from my previous tutorial for the harvester would be just go ahead and check what result would you get if you go ahead and run the facebook.com. So you might be wondering that you would get lots of things, but no, you won't get lots of things. The reason being that it's not getting the email IDs from the database. It's only getting the email IDs of the people or the person who go ahead and mail out stuff to you, like from the help side or the warning side or any other thing that the Facebook wants you to know. So you might be thinking that the way you got multiple things from Google, you'll get the same thing from the Facebook, but it won't. The reason being that Facebook has kept it tried to keep it much more secure by lowering as low as they can for the minimum amount of email IDs they have. So this is through one, but we'll just go ahead and check through all, and let's see if we get the same thing. And so you can see we have 2 email IDs, and we have a total of 5 hostname IP addresses. So the mtouch is for the, I believe it's for the cell phones. Again, this is for the cell phone without touch, normal Facebook, the developers, and the blog one. Let's check what we get over here. I believe we did not get anything in the PGP server. So, and Bing has lots of results, I believe, because even in the first 50 results it got something. Also go ahead and start the normal term of the harvester. And let's check whether it goes through Shodan. Okay. No, I believe it does not go through Shodan. Perfect. So as you can see that when I went ahead and tried to use, okay, I have loads of other things. I tried to use all of these things. I got n number of email IDs than the one I got over here. So these are, I believe, some of them may be the administrator, some may be the person who are trying to go and keep network on the chat or trying to keep them safe. So the firewall people. So these are the list of all the people who go ahead and manage the Facebook from day to day. So yeah, it's good enough. I can see, as far as I can see. Fine. So now this is just for this is through a social networking website. If you go ahead and check the same through any random company, so let's check some of the big shot companies. Let me think. We have Microsoft. No, I want some random companies. Let's check what do we get. And perfect. So let's go ahead and take this website. My connection is a bit slow. I'll just type Indian. Okay, let me check whether my Google is working or not. Okay, it is working. Okay, perfect. So I won't go over there, but now you know how you can go ahead and get all the IDs or the email IDs. If you're looking at it from a company's point of view, you can gather multiple things. And yesterday I also showed you one more thing which is related to whois, and you can go ahead and gather a lookup over here. But again, if you're using Google and if you're going ahead and gathering information, your efforts can still be traced. So there is one better thing. Rather than searching it over here, I can go ahead and do the same thing over here on my terminal. So I'll just clear everything and I'll type whois and I'll type google.com, or I'll just type a better one, microsoft.com, since that is a more private company than Google. Perfect. So even without using any kind of tool, I just went ahead and typed whoisgoogle.com and it gave me all the information. So it starts from over here. Server name is microsoft.com, or goddamn, okay, I'll just ignore that. So IP addresses, and this is the fake one, I believe. That's the reason it gave me. And I have, okay, fine. So the as you can see that any random website that starts with microsoft.com are given over here, even if it's a fake one. So as you can see that these are a bit abusive, but they are a fake. That's the reason it will still give it out, because these are the fake ones. Only the ones ending with microsoft.com are the real one. Everything else is fake. So you can go so this is better than just going ahead and searching over the web, because the web will only give you specific, or it will go ahead and narrow it down to the original microsoft.com, whereas when you go ahead and try it Linux, it will go ahead and give you all the websites that starts with microsoft.com. So you can also go ahead and check let's say google.com, and you will get even the fake websites created by us, or which are the names which are similar to google.com. And yes, as you can see that these are the fake addresses. And so next time if you get any kind of mail from these addresses, make sure that you know that these are fake and these are not the real one. We can check the whois server, the directory, and if you want to gather much more information, then you can just type whois and you can type help. Okay, let me check. Okay, and you can go ahead and tag all these things to get a much better information about any random thing that you're trying to get. So that would be it from this end for whois and the previous one. Now I'll be reporting up next to DNSenum, which is quite a useful tool, and I showed you again yesterday several tools related to DNS information gathering, but this time we would be doing it through again our terminal. And so there is a separate tool for all DNS analysis in KaliLinux, and as you can see, I'll be teaching you all of these things, starting with the smallest one and the first one, and I may leave out one or two if I think that they are not that good in collecting information, but I'll still teach you the most important ones. So as you can see, we have loads of other tools, and we will almost be learning 90% of them in these tutorials starting from now on. So these are vulnerability analysis for the websites, checking how secure they are. These are for the web applications running online. These are offline attacks. And password attacks can be much faster if you have a graphic card with you, because most of the times, or almost all of the times, password attacks are cracked by graphic cards. The reason being that they are much faster than a normal CPU. That's why. So we have your wireless tools, exploitation tools, sniffing, spoofing, maintaining access, reverse engineering, and many more. So starting with the DNSenum. This tool is programmed by in Perl. And DNSenum is a tool that it was designed with the purpose of enumerating DNS information about a domain. We can get information by using DNS tool, a DNSenum tool over here. So what it does is that it gets the host address, the name servers, the MX records, it tries the zone transfers, it gets the bind version, it also gets the extra names and subdomains via Google scraping. Brute force subdomains from file can also perform recursion on subdomain that have NS records, and it can also go ahead and perform reverse lookups on net ranges, and it can also go ahead and write down domain IPs into a text file naming such as IP block or something. So you can just go ahead over here to start DNSenum. You can just type DNSenum over here in the terminal, but I would prefer, if you're a newbie, I would prefer going ahead over here and then starting it through over here. Perfect. The reason being I'm telling you that is because, and you should read all of these things, because it will give you quite a better idea as to what each of these tags does and how they work exactly. So it's not quite that hard as well. And as you can see, we have the option for skipping the reverse lookups, disable ANSI color output, and we can also include the sub files over here, the TCP, UDP, datagram, timeout values. So in short, we have almost everything. We also have the whois command over here, which I can go ahead and combine, and I have multiple lookups. So this will give you, so this is how the geeky look of the DNSenum looks like. So if you want to gather information about a specific website, just go ahead and add the specific website's name, and make sure that even in the previous tools that I showed you on KaliLinux, you never go ahead and type, let's say, I'll just open another one. Let's say if you're using any random tool, so I'll just type random. Random is the name of the tool, any tool you are using. And if you want to go or gather information about a website, let's say Google or Microsoft, so you don't type www.google.com, you just type google.com. You don't type www, because if you do that, then there may be some kind of complications which happens in KaliLinux. It is not able to recognize that properly, and you will get some errors. So we don't go ahead and do www.google.com. We just do google.com. Yes, I'll be using these. So let's assume that we wanted to gather information about Facebook. So extra names and subdomains can also be found out via Google scraping, and most of the time this is not working with all domains, but it does work sometimes. So let's go ahead and first gather information using DNSenum, and we'll type facebook.com. And let's see what information we get. Okay, so we have the name servers over here, the IP addresses of each server. Now it's trying to get a zone transfer. It failed because I did not provide any brute force file or any password file so that it can go ahead and crack the DNS query. So, but we can still go ahead and type some extra subdomains or via Google scraping. So we will just go ahead and try to do that, and let's check what we get. So I'll type DNSenum, and I'll type, let's say, P5S20 facebook.com. Perfect. So what it does, the P is the number of pages that it would check, and I have provided over here as 5, so 5 pages it would check, and 20 is the number of Google search pages to process. The default is 20 pages, which I have provided, and S is the switch that must be specified, and -S is the scrap value, so the maximum number of subdomains that will be scrapped. And since this is not functional, you can manually run this command in a Google search, such as all in www.sitename, and you will still get the same thing. So I'll first go ahead and run this over here, and after that I'll go ahead and run the same thing to Google, and I'll show it to you. Let's check if we get some more stuff. Zone transfer won't work because the reason being that I have not yet provided any random file to it. It has started scraping subdomains from Google for facebook.com. So let's check what we get. Perfect. So it is scraped, but it did not get anything because Google is most probably blocking the queries. But this is how it works, and I'll show you how it works in Google if I go ahead and do the same thing. So I'll just type all perfect. Let's see what we get. Perfect. So we have all these subdomains for Facebook and who all are using them. So you can see that we have it for www.facebook.com, and these are all the subdomains for these different people who have been using them. So you can go ahead and gather this information, and I'll finally show you how we can go ahead and brute force. So just in case this tool is not working, you can go ahead and gather information over there, and then you can go ahead and come back over here to brute force these things. So brute force subdomains open terminal, and it can go ahead. I'll just show it to you. So I'll just type DNSenum -f DNS.txt. Over here, DNS.txt would be your text file which contains n number of passwords, and you need to save it over here in the home. And I'll just go ahead and add it. Let me check if I can go ahead and okay. Perfect. So I don't think that I can go ahead and show. Okay, never mind. So DNS-F. So F is the file name that it provides. It supports, and it will read the subdomains from this file to perform the brute force. So what you could do, you could go ahead and create a DNS.txt file, have all the subdomains in the F, and you can go ahead and brute force to check which subdomains it has. And you can go ahead and type facebook.com. It won't work over here because I have not yet specified anything inside the DNS.txt file. If it had, then it would have checked all these things for the subdomains, and then it would have given me out the proper answer. So that would be it for this tutorial. In the next tutorial, I'll be teaching you more about the different tools that we can see over here. Let me just getting more information about DNSdict, DNSmapping, and all these stuff. So yep. Hey guys, welcome to the next tutorial for ethical hacking and penetration testing via KaliLinux. So in the previous tutorial we took a look at the WHOIS and DNSenum. In this tutorial I'll be teaching you, let's say if you are a system administrator and you may get, your employees may get different types of, if you have passed all your security system, then there is only one thing that you need to worry about would be that someone else to go and social engineer their way into your company. So you need to keep your company secure. So in order for you to do that, you need to make your employees know what are the risks of that someone else sends them an email stating that from any random company to give out their IP addresses or any other thing by sending in some mail or clicking on some links. So you need to know that the mails come from the right place. So in order for you to do that, let's say sometimes you get an email from a random IP address such as abc@google.com or cc@google.com or desktop support@google.com. You get some such things like these. So you need to make sure first that maybe the Google can be right. It can be Google, but sometimes, most of the time, it is not Google, because Google does not actually go ahead and let you know every time that you need to verify your account. Once it's done, it's done. It won't ask you again. Most of the times, I'm saying. So you need to go ahead and keep your employees secure. So in order for that, there is one separate tool over here, so that you can check whether email ID you have received or the domain name you have received is a real one or not. So you can just go ahead and open over here applications, KaliLinux, information gathering, DNS analysis, and URLcrazy. So you can see over here that there are different versions over here. You can generate and test the domain typos and variation to perform URL hijacking, phishing, which is mostly done, and corporate espionage. So these are where the original directories are, and these are the options just in case you want to change your keyboard type, and these are the main DNS ways. So let's go ahead and check what we could do. I'll just type URLcrazy and I'll type google.com. Okay, great. So there are 87 host name to process with google.com, out of which 86 are false. So let's check which all are false. Okay, there are loads of things. I'll probably just go ahead and increase this a bit, and I'll just go ahead and skip, and I'll run this again. Okay, make sure that you look at websites at a proper way, because sometimes it will seem similar, but you won't even have an idea that this is a fake one. I'll just go ahead and run it from the start. Okay, as you can see, okay, this is quite easy to understand that this is a fake one. Even this one, even Google, but this one sometimes you just miss out the OM and you won't even recognize that. So these are the fake ones. I'll show you something which is quite different, and which is also a bit hard to find. We have googles.com, which probably people don't see, or we don't have the period in between, so people normally go ahead and just click it out. So you can see over here we have also the reason as to why it's a fake one, and it's giving me out all the information and showing that only the domain original one is Google, which was searched at this time, that's today, and this is the date when it searched, and my keyboard is QWERTY, so these are the conditions that I have been searching through. It will give you each information. Character omission, that means it does not have an O. Same thing here, it does not have period com cm. Then we have repeated L, which is a fake one, and we have character replacement. We have character replacement vices for E, and we have double character replacements. We have vowel swap, that is E to A. Okay, this is a bit flipping, that means it's from normal, it's a C Google. Same thing over here. It has been chosen over here, the zeros in front of O instead of O, and that can be confusing sometime. And these are totally different TLDs, timeline directories, period ch, period ca, period edu. These are all false. So let's go ahead and check something more, and let's check what other options do we have. Okay, so I'll just type I, and let's first check the popularity with Google. I'll type, let's say, surf.com. I'll type P. Okay, we have 130 host name. Okay, so this is quite a bit. And we also have the IP addresses, as to we can easily go ahead and find that out as to who is the person who is trying to go ahead and actually cheat us. I think that this check. Okay, perfect. So as you can see, we have it. We even have the email IDs and the SMTPs which they are using, and it's quite a bit. So what you could do is you could simply go ahead and save these if you want to check that the email IDs which you have received are the right one or not. Just we have an option over here to output this file to a text file, and you can go ahead and save this and then search into that whether this is the correct one or not. So this is one way as to how we can go ahead and do that. Now I'll show you one more thing which is quite different, and it will be, let me just go ahead and open that. It will be the DNSdict, and I'll just go ahead and open it. KaliLinux again, information gathering, DNS analysis, and we have DNSdict 6. If you don't have, you can straight away go ahead to its own website and download if you are using it for the Windows version. I doubt whether it will be there because, okay, we have it on GIT Hub. Okay, so you can clone in desktop and download the zip file to make it run on your computer if you want. So we have all the packages just in case. These are for, yep, I believe these are for the MacBook Pros. Fine. Okay, so now let's go ahead and check. So information gathering use DNSdict. A DNSdict 6 is an information gathering tool which is used for gathering information from a website. DNSdict, it's a DNS dictionary. 6 can scan a website, and it can also show you how many subdomain or domain are available, and it can also go ahead and scan the IPv6 and the IPv4 addresses, which are quite useful. This tool is quite a powerful tool, I can say, because it also extracts the subdomains which are restricted or invisible for users. So let's say if you're working in any ABCD company and you are a user who is working over there, even you will not be able to view those subdomains, but the hacker who is using this tool will be able to see, and it's quite creepy. So overall, this is a nice tool for information gathering through website. So you can just go ahead and open it in this way, and you can check options over here, these tags which you can apply and gather much more information. I'll be using some of them, and I'll be showing you how this works. Let's go ahead and search for google.com DNSdict 6.com. What this will do is that it will extract the subdomains of Google with their IPv4 and IPv6 information. So later on, if you want to go ahead and restrict it to only to IPv4 or IPv6, we can also do that. So let's go ahead and check all the information. So these are the IPv6, I believe. Okay, we have loads. And these are all the real ones, just in case you might be wondering. These are not any of this is not a fake Google. It's these are all the original subdomains of google.com. How many of them are in total? Let's check. Okay, we have 1419 words. Okay, great. And side by side, I'll also go ahead and open another one. Okay, we have it. So we had a total of 58 domain names and 25 unique IPv6 addresses for Google. So we only have the IPv6 as of now. We have not received any IPv4. In order for us to do that, let's go ahead and first check the IPv6 for Microsoft.com and let's see if we are able to get anything from there. Okay, the IPv6 for Microsoft is quite different from the ones that we had in Google, most probably because it has Microsoft Windows Server. That's the reason, I believe. Okay, so we have only 5 domain names and Microsoft is quite small than Google. Now let's go ahead and restrict it only to let's say IPv4 addresses. So -D is used to display the information on name servers and MX records, and I'll also use -4, which is used to go ahead and gather information. I'll just show it over to you. It's also for IPv4 addresses, so both will be displayed, that is IPv6 as well as IPv4. So I'll just go ahead and run this. Okay, so as you can see, we have the IPv4 addresses over here as well. We also received the IP addresses of the admin as well, which is quite dangerous. But since it's Google, I don't think that anyone will try to go ahead and mess with it. We have much more IPv4 addresses than we had IPv6 previously. Let's check. Previously, I believe we had a total of 58 IPv6 addresses. Okay, perfect. So we received a total of 76 domain names and 60 unique IPv4 addresses, which is quite useful. So the most important one out of these would be the admin ones, which I found out previously, so which are quite dangerous if it falls into the wrong hands. Okay, so we have the IP addresses for admins. It's probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 IP addresses, I believe, and 12. The 12th one is the IPv6. Perfect. So these are the ways as to how you can go ahead and find out information about the IP addresses of people who are working inside a domain or a subdomain. And that would be it for this tutorial. In the next tutorial, I'll be starting with the two different and one of the few of the most important tools, that would be DNSmap and DNSrecon. So that's it for this tutorial, guys. Hey guys, welcome to the next tutorial for ethical hacking and penetration testing via KaliLinux. In the previous tutorial, I taught you about DNS information gathering of subdomains and IPv4 and IPv6 through DNSdict and URLcrazy. Okay, perfect. Sorry, I forgot. Okay, so now the next thing that I would be teaching you today would be the DNS analysis version of our DNSrecon and DNSmap. So I would be first starting with DNSrecon because it's quite a bit easy than DNSmap. So DNSrecon, it's just a tool for enumeration, and it is again coded in Python, same thing as URLcrazy, and it enables to gather DNS oriented information on a given target. So sorry, not URLcrazy, it was Python is based along with the Harvester. Perfect. So now in order for you to open DNSrecon, I'll just keep this terminal on this right hand side. Let's go to KaliLinux information gathering, DNS analysis and DNSrecon, and as you can see, we have each and everything over here that we want, all the tags. The most important would be the -D, -R and the dictionary file that we would be using, and if we are trying to filter out brute force, then we'll have to use -f as well. So there was a bug in KaliLinux some time ago that we were not able to just type DNS recon. We need to type DNSrecon /pi. But this tool that I would be using is bug free. The reason being that it has been updated in the recent version, and if you have the updated version, you don't have to worry about that. So this bug has been fixed by KaliLinux team on the new update. So the standard code enumeration is that we can go ahead and get the SOA record, name server, mail host, MX, IP ranges, and a lot of more that the company is using, what servers can send emails from as well. So I'll just go ahead and show you the DNSrecon version. SRECON -T std-d google.com. And in case you might be wondering what is -d and -t, as I told you, a few things are the most important. T is for the type and D is for the domain target. So T is we have the standard type and the domain is google.com. So let's check. Perfect. So by gathering this information that I enumerated, we can see that Google has SRV, that's service records, and now we know that they're using a jabber, that's XMPP, and we have also obtained the IP, and let's check if we have the ports as well through which they transfer. As of now, we only have the IP addresses except for this one. So we have the port as well over here, 31. Now let's go ahead and check the ports as well. So I'll just type DNSrecon -t SRV, since the type would be for the surface, and -d google.com. Let's check all these service records. Okay, so let's check. We have all the XMPP files. We don't have, okay, we have the port over here, that is 389. That's being used. Over here we have 5269. So we have all the information that we need. Even the IPv6 ports, we have it over here, so we don't need to probably worry about gathering any information from the outside. We can go ahead and gather all the information just by using this tool. So now there's one more thing that I would like to teach you, that would be the zone transfer. There is a security problem with DNS zone transfer, and it is that it can be used to decipher the topology of a company's network, specifically when a user is trying to perform a zone transfer. So what it does is that it sends a DNS query to a list of all DNS information like name servers or host names, MX and CNAME records, zone serial number, time to live records, etc. And due to the amount of information that can be obtained, DNS zone transfer cannot be easily found. So I'll show you an example as to how we can go ahead and try to do that. DNS -t AXFR and DNSrecon -t AXFR-d, and let's check for google.com if we are able to find anything for that. Zone transfer failed. Okay, zone transfer has failed for google.com. Maybe it's way too secure. Let's check for a random local Durga, the one which I tried previously, for city.co.in. Let's check it for this. Okay, so zone transfer was successful over here. As you can see, these one were successful, SOA and NS ways. Okay, perfect. So this is how we can go ahead and see the time to live records as well as zone transfers. Now we have a top level enumeration as well, and what it does is that it shows the level domain name along with the IP addresses. So I'll just go ahead and type DNSrecon -t and TLD-D DNSrecon-t ltld.com. Perfect. Let's go ahead and check what we get. This is for the top level enumeration. So we have the basic IP addresses. Okay, I believe we have lots of different IP addresses working under Facebook. Okay, I believe we have lots of top level enumeration. I may need to quit this because I don't see it anywhere near soon. Okay, so what I would be doing, I would just go ahead and quit because I think that Facebook has lots of top level enumerations. Let's check for google.com. If it runs, I will be able to show you how it looks like in the end. If it does not, if it does collide in the end, if it does not, then again I'll have to move on to the next topic. Okay, all the host and IP addresses of Google are again still active, I believe, so I won't be able to continue with that. So, but this is how you can go ahead and find out different IP addresses for that. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the reverse lookup as to how we can go ahead and also use the reverse lookup. And reverse DNS lookup is a determination of a domain name with the associated IP address. DNSrecon can perform a reverse lookup for PTR records, that's pointer records, against IPv4 and IPv6 address ranges. So I'll just quit this one by typing Ctrl-Z, and I'll go ahead and check, try to do a reverse lookup recon on that. And these would be, I would need to go ahead and insert two different IP addresses. So the IP address for Google would be 173.192.114.86 and 173.192.114.96. Okay, so check, range provided is invalid. Okay, never mind. So if you had a valid range, then you would have gotten all the reverse DNS lookup information for the google.com as well. So to save all of these enumeration results, you need to go ahead and type DNSrecon -d. Let's say for google.com you want to save, I'll type XML MR, and -d is used for denoting the domain. -t is used to specify which type you want of enumeration you want to use, as I was using previously. So in case I want to go ahead and save all this information inside a file, I can just go ahead and type this, and a file will be created over here in home named MR, and you can see all of these things. Perfect. I'll just close. So this is one way of using the DNSrecon. Now the next topic that I would like to teach you would be the DNS mapping version, which is quite different from the DNSrecon. But that would be it for this tutorial. I'll be teaching that in the next tutorial. So once you have understood all of these 3 to 4 things that I have taught you till now, DNS mapping would be quite easy, and yes, I'll be showing you how we can go ahead and brute force that as well. That's it for this tutorial. Hey guys, welcome to the next tutorial for ethical hacking and penetration testing with KaliLinux. So in this tutorial I'll be teaching you more about mapping networks and gathering more information about them. So the best tool that we would be using as of now, till now we have used a lot of different tools, but now I would be using something different, and it would be the DNS map. So if you have gone through all my previous tutorials, then it will be quite easy for you to understand what this does exactly, else you won't be able to. So what DNS map tool does is that it obtains all A records. By A records I mean IP addresses that are associated to each successfully brute force subdomain, and rather than just one IP address per subdomain, it will gather all IP addresses through brute force techniques. After that, it can go and abort the brute forcing process in the case the target domain uses wildcards, and it has the ability to be able to run the tool without providing a word list by using a built-in list of keywords. So I don't need to actually go ahead and provide different tools for them, different file lists for them to go ahead and brute force. It has its own inbuilt word supplied, and brute force can also be used by using a user supplied word list if I have one. I can also go ahead and save the results in a human readable and CSV format for easy processing. It has improved built-in subdomains word list, and it has even new bash script such as a DNSmap-bulk sh, and it is a Linux format. It includes all of those things which allows running DNS map against a list of domains from a user supplied file, that is brute forcing several domains in a bulk fashion. Bypassing of signature based DNS map detection by generating a proper pseudo random subdomain when checking for wildcards, and this is the unique feature of DNSmap. So you might be wondering why to use DNSmap tool rather than going ahead and downloading some random other file. The reason being that DNSmap is free. It is useful when finding interesting remote access servers. It is also useful in finding badly configured or unpatched servers, finding new domain names, which will allow you to map the non-obvious and hard to find network blocks. Sometimes you can also find that some brute force or some brute forced subdomains resolve to internal IP addresses, that's RFC 1918, and this is a great as sometimes they are really up to date A records, which means that it is possible to enumerate internal servers of the target organization from the internet by only using the DNS resolving and nothing else, which is quite useful there, so that it will not even leave a target that you have actually targeted this company, and which is actually opposite to what zone transfers do. For instance, a DNS mapping can also discover embedded services configured using DNS dynamic services. So it has all of these features in total. So now I would teach you how we can go ahead and use this. So again, the same thing: applications, KaliLinux, information gathering, DNS analysis, and we have DNSmap over here. So you can see that I can supply my own word list if you want, or the regular list file that it has already inbuilt, and delay in milliseconds as to when it wants to repeat the process. And these are the IPs to ignore, these are the false positives, and the CSV result file, which I don't know what exactly it is. So I'll show you how we can go ahead and gather information. First thing that you need to do is you need to go ahead and select a target. You can go ahead and move to your pentest directory. So I'll just text cd/pentest if I have it. Okay, I don't have the pentest directory, never mind. I will just start it in a random way. So what I will do is I'll just type, let's say, DNSmap google.com. Let's check what we get. 10 millisecond delay is there between different requests, so that Google does not ban us out. Okay, perfect. We have the IP address and the IPv6, IPv4 and IPv6 address of the admin. The accounts for google.com, we have that as well. Let's check what more we get. ap.google.com, good. I believe it has lots of IPv4 ap.google.com IP addresses. This is one way of using DNS mapping using a 10 milliseconds delay. If I don't use the delay, I will get something else. Okay, we have received the billing information. So as we can see that all of these above the DNS map has scanned are all the subdomains of the Google, along with the A records, that is the IP address of Google subdomains. Now these IP addresses or IPv6 addresses are the simplest way of using DNS map. In order to perform a more deep search, there are several advanced options that we can use in DNS tool. So I'll just go ahead and quit this right now, and I'll show you how we can go ahead and use this. I can use the -w to use the word list, or I can use the -r to go ahead and get the regular result list that it has inbuilt, the brute force files, CSV, as I told you. So examples for using these options would be something like that. If you have a custom word list of subdomains, you can use that, as well as by simply specifying the -w argument and then the path to the word list. So you can just type DNSmap google.com -w and xyz period list period txt and -r/temp/domain bf_results period txt. So what it will do is that it will go ahead and save all of these files under the wtxt file, xyz period txt file, under the temporary directory of the domain bf_results file. And if you already have one, then you don't need to go ahead and specify the w or the word list. You can just simply type DNSmap google.com -r/tmp/d. 3000 would be the milliseconds that it would be using, and you can just go ahead and hit enter, and it will straight away go ahead and use the default file and save all of these in the temp directory. And there is one more method of doing that. While this runs, I'll go ahead and show that to you using the built-in word list, as I believe -r is for the built-in word list. And now if you wanted to go ahead and save these things, let's try it for something different. Let's type for Microsoft.com. So I'll type DNSmap.com -r /subdomain brute force _results .txt. and I'll hit enter. So what it would do is it would go ahead and create this directory and say everything inside the subdomain brute force _results, and it will gather all the DNS queries that it has and save it inside that. So let's check if we first get these information. I think the DNS query is quite slow at this point of time. That's why it's unable to get multiple requests within 10 milliseconds. Okay, we have the first IP address for 64.4.16 and 215, and these IP addresses will give you an idea or hint as to what will be their range of IP addresses using in their whole company. That means from where to where would be the range and what range are they using as of now, so that it will be easier for you to go ahead and get an access into their computers. So yes, this is how the DNS mapping looks like. So enough with the DNS stuff about information gathering. We have several tools, but just gathering information won't be enough to go ahead and attack you. I will also be showing you the DNSR, even num6, tracer, DNSwalk, and Fierce, and I have shown you all of these things remaining, but I will be showing you these in the next tutorial. And as of now, I would be starting with social engineering and how you can go ahead and create your own keylogger, or you can place one that you have which is inbuilt in KaliLinux, and KaliLinux has n number of let me just show it out to you rather than saying it out. It would be the Metapreter command, so it would be Metasploit. So I'll just type msf console, so you can see it for yourself that the number of payloads or the number of viruses including trojans or hacking into someone's webcam, gathering information remotely through Metapreter command, or opening an SSH command file, command prompt from anyone else's computer on your computer, or PowerShell command. You can also go ahead and do these things just by using the Metasploit console. So let's go ahead and check this out first. How many payloads we have, how many viruses we have inbuilt. And it does not only have trojans or viruses for Windows computer. We can also go ahead and use these to hack into another one's Linux distribution or a Mac distribution as well. Let it start. It can take quite a bit of time depending upon the speed of your processor. Okay, perfect. So we have a total of 1,389 exploits, out of which 788 are auxiliary and 223 are post. Auxiliary means the viruses which we need to go ahead and implement before we go ahead and hack into the PC, and 223 are the ones that we get after we go ahead and hack into the PC. With that I mean that, let's say once you have gained access to someone else's computer, but you don't have the system access, the root access, at that point of time we need to go ahead and use the some of the remaining out of these 223 posts, and we have the payloads, a total of 37, out of which 8 are knobs and 37 are encoded. So yes, and if you want to gather the whole version, you can still download the whole version over here at rapid7.com, the people who are developing Metasploit. So that would be it for this tutorial. In the next tutorial I'll be starting with social engineering and stuff, and how we can go ahead and create phishing web pages that I showed you in one of my previous tutorials. I would be creating that live, and I'll be showing you how we can go ahead and create that manually. Welcome to the next tutorial of ethical hacking and penetration testing via KaliLinux. So far we have seen the importance of footprinting and reconnaissance, and I've shown you several different tools as to how you can go ahead and gather information. But every time you need to go ahead and download stuff, and just to be sure that in case you are a malicious hacker, and if you're trying to gather information and you're searching these tools via Google and gathering information, then you need to know that even Google keeps a record of your search. So next time if you're trying to do something wrong, and Google will always have a trace on you, and they can easily follow your footsteps, which email ID you're using, which IP address have been used from your ID to access it, and what all can be done. So the best approach would be to use a different browser and rather than Chrome. I would prefer Mozilla, or the best one that we have over here, default is Iceweasel in KaliLinux. But there is one more secure browser which is known as Tor browser, but I would not recommend downloading anything through that, because it would again go ahead and waive off your anonymity. So, but still there are different ways. I won't be disclosing each and every one of them, but there are ways as to how you can go ahead and anonymously download stuff so that your paths could not be traced and you can be anonymous. So assuming that you have all the tools, but still there are some or the other point that all the tools may not work on one operating system. Let's say if you're using the Ubuntu, then you may have problems downloading the RPM package, or the latest update may not be available. If you're using Windows, then it's more or less I'm sure that you won't have all the tools available on Windows, because hacking is not actually used when you're using Windows. Hacking cannot be done only by using a operating system like Windows. You need an open source system like Linux. Even I can prefer Mac, but Windows, nah, no, it's a total no. So, but why do we have to go through Macs or operating system like Windows when we have our own KaliLinux, and we have all those tools such as Whois or the Harvester or any related DNS queries that we want? I can straight away go ahead and gather this information through my only only operating system, that is KaliLinux. So yes. So I would be showing you today all those things that we could do through KaliLinux, and we don't even have to download a single tool from the web, and there is no question of anyone tracing you at all. So the information gathering steps of footprinting and scanning are the most important before hacking. Good information gathering can make the difference between a successful penetration testing and one that has failed to provide maximum benefit to a client. We can say that information is a weapon. A successful penetration testing and a hacking process needs a lot of relevant information, and that is why information gathering, or the so-called footprinting, is the first step of hacking, and it is the most important, because if you have correct information, then you can do anything you want. If you have wrong information, then you may not be able to hack the right party, or you may even go ahead and just expose yourself to everyone that you have all this information. So gathering valid login names and emails are the most important part of penetration testing. So there is a tool in KaliLinux that is known as the Harvester. I'll just go ahead and show it out to you. Alright, then here I'll just go ahead and start the Harvester directly. Yep. So the Harvester has been developed in Python. It's been written in Python by Christian Martorella, and if you don't know Python, then you surely need to go ahead and learn. Although just using this tool does not require your knowledge of Python, but still Python is a good programming language, that's why. And it is a tool which provides, the Harvester is a tool which provides us information about the email accounts, usernames, host names, subdomains from different public sources like search engines and PGP key server. This tool is designed to help penetration tester on an earlier stage. It is an effective, simple, and quite easy to use tool. The sources supported are Google, their emails, subdomains, hostname, Google profiles such as employee names, Bing search, PGP servers, LinkedIn, Exalead, and the new features would include time delay between requests, XML results export, searching a domain in all sources, and virtual host verifier. So if you're using KaliLinux, you can just go ahead on the terminal and use the command the Harvester, and okay, and it will run. So you can see that all of these things, and make sure that you go through all of these things again, and because it's very useful and it will give you much more knowledge rather than just copying my thing over here and pasting it on your terminal. So it's very much important that you go through all of these commands and what it does, because I would be using them today. And just in case it is not available for your distribution, that means if you're not using KaliLinux, you can easily download it from, we have under, I'll just go ahead and open my Google Chrome, and let me check if my Google is still working. Yep. So you can just go to http and I'll type code.google.com/p/the harvester, and let me check. Okay, so here we have in the GIT hub the latest resources available. So it shows you what it all does. That means passive discovery, virtual host, that's pinging server host, and the active directory, that is the DNS brute force, DNS reverse lookup, and DNS TDL expansion, and TLD directory brute force enumeration as well, which is quite important. So now we know how these work what does this thing do. We will first go ahead and implement these things on a KaliLinux on any normal web page, and then we will see how it works exactly.